Have you ever dreamed of dropping everything and sailing the islands? Nothing but crystal clear water, bikinis, tan lines, and cocktails at sunset. Now imagine it's 85 degrees at night, you're literally wet with sweat, and if you open a window, you'll get swarmed with mosquitoes. That's why we decided to partner with Epoch batteries, with a goal to solve this issue once and for all.
What's up, guys?
We have huge news.
We are about to do a massive battery upgrade on Zola.
We're going to be ripping out all of the old batteries and solar panels because they all suck. So let's dig into our plan for the setup. Now things might change because obviously we're still in the planning stage, but as of now we're planning to put 3 of these 460 amp hour batteries. That's 1,380 amp hours of batteries.
So the reason we're doing all of this is one of my things that I needed to come back sailing again was air conditioning. Honestly, it is such a game changer, like especially in Bahamian summers or just summers in general where the bugs are bad and you just want to close everything up and dry everything out. But anyways, I need air conditioning.
We're working on designing a system that will hopefully be able to give us air conditioning through the night and maybe even during the day a little bit to keep my princess comfortable.
I'm gonna need it all day, baby.
She said. So this entire process is probably going to take us at least 1 to 2 videos, maybe more, we'll see. But our goal from this is to give you a sort of meat and potatoes approach to installing batteries and solar on your boat. So we're going to try to break it down into plain English and show you roughly how many batteries you need, how much solar you need to accomplish your goals out on the water. Let's go.
All right, let's start out by figuring out how much power do we actually need. And when I say power, I'm talking amp hours of batteries. Talking to you guys as I'm editing this video, and I'm realizing it could get a little boring, but just bear with me for 5 minutes. You'll be way more knowledgeable afterwards, and you'll be one step closer to your next successful boat project. So how do we figure out how much power we need? Well, we do that by adding up all of the main power users or power suckers. It's an easy way to think about it. Okay, so which items use the most power? Typically, it's gonna be your refrigerator, if you use an air fryer, a water maker, ice maker. Your big items with a heavy draw are gonna use the most power. So we wanna pay special attention to those large items. Then we want to calculate the estimated daily amperage usage of those items. And we do that by using this formula. Amps equals watts divided by volts. All right, and before you freak out and think we're gonna have to do a lot of math, it's actually very simple. Pretty much all of your appliances, all of these heavy items are going to have a data plate on them that will give you the watts and the volts. So let's take this little air purifier fan thing, for example. So I'm gonna flip it over, and down here is gonna be the data plate. So we see here voltage supply, 24 volts, 16 watts. So there we go. We have our voltage and we have our watts. So this little air purifier draws pretty much no power. 16 watts divided by 24 volts will equal our amps here. So I just open up the calculator and the answer is 0.66 amps. If it was to run continuously, that is how many amps it would use per hour. All right, now let's do something a little bit larger, a little bit more power hungry. This is my toaster oven at home. As you guys can see here on the bottom side, we have 120 volts with 1300 watts. So all we gotta do is plug that into the formula. So we have 1300 divided by 120 equals our amps. 1300 divided by 120 equals 10.83 amps. So if this were to run continuously for an hour, it would draw 10.8, almost 11 amps. So in order to figure out how many amps we're really gonna use, we need to figure out how many hours it's going to be running throughout the day. If you have a cool Touch 50 like this, this is another way to test how much power specific items are drawing. So you can shut everything off in the boat, make sure your inverter's on, power that item on, and then the screen will show you how much power you're drawing.
Now watch that.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we just turned the air fryer on.
So the absolute correct way to do this would be to add up everything from your fridge, water maker, all the big things like we said, all the way down to your lights. Every little thing on the boat. For me, that's way too much work to do every little thing. So I calculated all of the large things on the boat, and then I put in, I think I need to go back and look, but about a 500 amp hour buffer for all of the little things that I wouldn't normally think about. So our life is crazy right now. We're actually on the road and traveling a little bit, but Nellie's driving. I got the computer set up so I can edit in the car. Also, we can get you guys this video out on time and you don't have to wait an additional week. While we're driving, let's take the time to talk about the different batteries you could use to store or to use this power. First, you have lead acid, then you have AGMs, and you have lithium. For us, it's a very clear choice that lithium is the way to go for your house battery bank.
So the reason why we're choosing lithium is that they're lighter, smaller, they charge faster, and they can be discharged to a greater percentage.
And it's kind of a common thought process to think that lithium batteries aren't safe on a boat, but that's really changed, especially if you use Epoch batteries. Go to their website, you'll see a video of someone talking about one of their batteries, or a few of their batteries that were completely submerged in salt water for days. And then one thing led to another. They were plugged back into this guy's RV and they were still working completely fine after being submerged in brackish salt water.
While we're at it, let's discuss why we chose Epoch batteries.
A huge selling point of Epoch batteries is that they have a best of class 11-year warranty. We don't even know very many people who've kept their boat more than 11 years. So to know you can buy these batteries and have them under warranty for probably way longer than you'll own your boat is a massive selling point.
They have a built-in battery monitoring system that can be accessed from your phone.
And again, they're literally waterproof. Now, I definitely won't test that theory, but they are IP67 rated.
Epoch batteries plug directly into your Victron servo and can control your Victron system.
The batteries literally have an on and off switch, which will completely shut the batteries off. I've never seen that on a battery before, and it's honestly been super useful in the setup process already. I've heard of situations where sailors will be out there and let's say they have 5 house batteries and one of them goes bad. Well, that ruins their whole house battery setup. With the on-off switch and how smart these Epoch batteries are, you can shut the bad battery off, isolate it from the system, and be good to go.
And last, but definitely not least, the price. When we were shopping around for similar sized batteries, Epoch had some of the best prices, so that is definitely a plus.
That's Mike you see helping us there. He is the guy in the Palm Beach Treasure Coast area. The next step in the process is figuring out where you're going to put everything, and this is super crucial because everything obviously has to fit and you want to avoid really long wire runs so that you don't have voltage drop. We unfortunately had to move our battery bank because these new batteries are obviously bigger than the old small amp hour AGMs we had in previously. Like we said before, we decided to go with 3 of their big 460 amp hour batteries because installing 3 batteries is much easier than doing 5 or 6 smaller batteries. And once you get everything planned out, it's time to start mounting shit. This is the second inverter we've bought because the first one came with a massive dent in the top, but Mike was able to send it back and get us a new one in pretty quick. We went with the Victron Quattro. It's one of the biggest you can get, and we needed it to handle the air conditioners, air fryers, and whatever else we're going to be using on it. All right, we're down in the starboard aft bedroom over here. Getting some measurements taken for the Quattro. She's getting put in today. Let's go. All right, so here's our current setup. Got the batteries here, slowly getting them all charged up. Here's the awesome rack that Mike built.
And he's down in the dungeon underneath the bed. There's the mounting plate for the Quattro, and he's got to get the measurements just right because the inverter has to go up and sit on top of that. With this thing weighing 100 pounds, there was no way Mike was going to be able to just front delt raise that thing up on the wall. So we're going to get creative, run some ropes through here and see if I can pull through these holes on the top and take some weight. All right, wish us luck.
1, 2, 3, up. Almost down.
Let's go, come on. Nice, she's on. Let's go. Now we're taking it off, screwing more holes, and then doing it again. All right, she's on. Looks good. Distributors are over there. Damn. Solar controllers are back there, and it's all gonna be right here. That's gonna be clean. Inverter is on, that's a win.
And once you get most of your components mounted, it's time to start running the wire. Part of the reason we chose to put the batteries in that back bedroom is because it was such a short run to go through the wall and get out to the alternators and the solar panels. Essentially, we're just trying to run that red cable to the alternator
For the DC to DC.
the DC to DC so that we can charge the house batteries.
Yeah, and then we'll isolate the alternators from charging the house.
Got it.
So we're just finding where to get the 12 volts from for when this starts charging.
And all this wire we're pulling through here will eventually connect to the solar panels. All right, some of you guys might notice the video is going to be a little bit out of order simply because we ran into some issues with the inverter being dented and then not coming back for a week. So we had to kind of jump around and do what we could with the time that we had. But for congruity and for the video to make sense, I'm gonna edit in the timeline that we wish things would have, that we could have made them happen, because that just will make the most sense. All right, it's getting pretty exciting. Starting to run this thick cable. We're gonna run it through here and then through the closet and up. All right, so in order for us to run wire from the batteries up to the panel and over there, we're gonna have to take this wall off. All right. Oh, nice. The access we have in there is Mike approved. Oh yeah, right there. You can literally see it, huh?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So we got the snake through. Now Mike has done a pretty awesome jerry rigging contraption. And we're gonna see if we can get this cable pushed through here. And then we saw where the snakes go, there's a smaller hole over there. Let's hope that cable will actually fit through there. All right, we got it through. So here's where we ran into a not so fun problem. We were all fired up when we saw how much room we had to go through the wall, but we didn't realize when we tried to go through the next area of the floor and get up to the wall, there was literally no room. There's no way to fit 4/0 cable through that hole. We ultimately decided we're gonna have to cut a new hole and put an access panel there in order to run the cable we need. So Mike is using this snake camera to scope out a safe spot to drill through the wall. But we'll save the wall cutting project for the next video. Time to crimp some nice thick cable now.
4/0. So when you measure these and you're cutting, see how this goes to a point?
Yep.
So what you want to do is when you put these on, the point is you put it on just enough and you can hammer it and it flattens itself out.
Okay.
So that means it can't twist. Use a wire stripper. Give it a turn.
Nice.
You break the casing right there. The casing out.
Clean, look at that.
And that is copper tin when it's silver like that. See, beautiful. And then what I told you before is how it. So when you push it all the way in, got that much left. You hammer it on. Right till it gets flush. See how it's flush now?
Yeah, look at that. Perfect.
So you got the perfect cut. Everything's in there. There's a 4/0 crimper, hydraulic.
All right, let's see this finished product.
Then this has glue on it.
Okay.
So as you heat this up, right to the curve, and just start heat shrinking. And then you're gonna start seeing glue come out.
Nice. And then it was my turn to start crimping some cable. All right, while I'm rolling these clips, I just want to take a second and say how much we appreciate Mike for helping us through this whole process. Not only is he great at what he does, but he's also willing to teach me along the way all the things that I didn't know. And that really is invaluable as a sailor because you have to be self-sufficient out on the water. I'll attach Mike's info down below in the description. Hit him up next time you need a boat project done in the Treasure Coast, Palm Beach area. All right, finished product. Not bad.
All right, we're going to wrap this video up right here. I left the boys for about 5 minutes and came back and had to take Banner to the ER. So stay tuned for next video to find out what happened and to watch us begin our solar arch install and finish up the batteries.